I just skipped to a slide which has it probably in a clearer way. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so there are three roles in this drama. It's a drama triangle. It's called the Karpman's drama triangle, and it applies to all human interactions which are destructive in nature. So there are three roles. These are not people, mind you. These are roles which people play. So the first one is persecutor. The second one is the rescuer, and the third one is the victim. Okay, I'm going to quickly go through all these three roles and then discuss what this drama triangle tells us. The first role, the victim. The victim, if you see, is at the lower end of the triangle because it's a one down position. The victim, as the word itself describes, poor me, bichara main, and so like, the world is always out to get me. I can't get anything right. I feel so overwhelmed by life. Life is so difficult. Life is so unfair. कैसे जीते हैं लोग अकेले यहाँ पे? Poor me. That is the victim mentality. That is the victim role. Then comes the rescuer. If there's a victim, somebody has to rescue the person. So in comes the rescuer, the knight in shining armor, and he comes in, let me help you. I know how to do this. So allow me to help you. So this rescuer then comes in and starts taking charge of the victim's life and starts helping, so to say, to help the victim deal with all the things which are, overwhelming that victim. What is this persecutor? Persecutor is like an evil twin of the rescuer. He's a very angry person. ये सब तुम्हारी गलती, तुम्हें कुछ आता ही नहीं है, सब बुरे, सब गलत, मेरे को छोड़ के सब गलत. So they find faults with everybody except themselves. So it's the same thing. See, if you look at it, both of them have recognized something missing in the victim. तुमसे ये नहीं हो पा रहा, but the response is different. The rescuer says, नहीं हो पा रहा तुमसे, लाओ मैं कर देता हूँ, ये लाओ मैं तुम्हें help कर देता हूँ. The persecutor just rages on, criticizes, abuses, and declares that it's all your fault and you're good for nothing. Okay? So these are the three roles involved in this drama triangle. And the moment you have more than one person, a human interaction evolves. And if it's a destructive one, a negative one, this is the kind of drama which ensues. Now, if I come to the drama, so what are these arrows telling us? The arrow is telling us that no one person plays the same role all the time. We keep switching. Sometimes multiple times within the same day itself. Forget about the same day. Within the same conversation sometimes we keep switching roles. Because these are roles. Remember, it's not like the person is a victim. It's a role. It's a mindset. Right? Let's take an example. So, father walks in. Father comes back home. And he sees that mother is scolding the child. तो उधर रूम को भी साफ नहीं करते, कब से बोल रखा है तुम्हें तुम्हारे रूम में गंद मचा पड़ा, तुम रूम नहीं साफ करते, right? So who is the victim here?
Child.
The child. And who is the persecutor?
Mother.
The mother, right? तुम्हारी गलती तो मेरी नहीं. In walks the father. यार कोई बात नहीं, आजकल के बच्चे बिजी रहते हैं, इतना काम करते हैं, रूम साफ नहीं किया तो क्या हो गया? In comes the rescuer. And now there's a role change. So mother turns her anger onto the father. और तुम बड़े आ गए हो, मैं पूरा दिन मैं यहाँ बैठी रहती हूँ, काम करती रहती हूँ, और तुम आ जाते हो आराम से काम करके और बस आते हो, मस्ती करते हो, टीवी देखते हो, सो जाते हो. बच्चों को तो मैं संभालती हूँ, बड़ा आसान हो गया, तुमने तो कुछ करना नहीं है, झेलती तो मैं हूँ उनको. Now the victim is the father, the persecutor is still the mother, and the child is just looking. So now the child has two options. Either the child can just ignore it and walk away, or the child will be like, हाँ मम्मा, पापा तो ऐसे ही हैं. So in comes the second persecutor. So now from the victim, the child becomes the persecutor, and so on and so on. We keep running in circles, we keep switching roles, and there's no end to it. Right? Just a few examples of situations. So mother, son, father, manager, subordinate, colleague, patient, doctor, illness. The illness is obviously the persecutor. Students, parents, teacher. And the last one, and probably the most interesting one, me, my weak point, and the rest of the world. Everybody else out there. So we keep playing this drama over and over with people outside of us and inside us. Okay? And what do we do about it? What is the way out of this? Just keep calm and take ownership. If you look at this triangle, the root cause of this triangle is not taking responsibility for how I'm feeling. I'm blaming. And like I say, when you blame, you point a finger, three fingers are pointing back at you. So instead of shifting the responsibility and hence the power to change that situation onto somebody else's head, you take responsibility of whatever is happening. So if the child is coming home late and drunk at night, obviously मुझे गुस्सा चढ़ेगा यार, मेरा बच्चा रात को लेट दारू पी के गिरता पड़ता आ रहा है, ये सिखाया मैंने उसको, right? But that is your choice. That is your choice how you want to feel about it. You're blaming the child's actions here for your state of feeling, and that is how the entire circle starts. So मुझे ये feel हो रहा है, मुझे गुस्सा feel हो रहा है, but ये मुझे अपनी वजह से तो नहीं हो रहा. अगर मुझे अपनी वजह से नहीं हो रहा, किसकी वजह से हो रहा है? I need to find a second person. That second person is my victim, and so on and so on and so on. It's a cascading effect. It's a snowball. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it never stops. So the only way to go about it is stop blaming, stop attributing your state of mind, your state of feeling to other people, and look inside and see where you stand. Why am I responding or feeling like this to something which is happening outside of me? Now, the obvious that involves taking responsibility, being honest with yourself, and letting other people have some space, right? Being a bit more generous and forgiving. And we have here by Calvin, in which he tells us how we usually function. So he says that I thrive on change. And like you threw a fit this morning because your mom put less jelly on your sandwich. He's like, yeah, so I thrive on making other people change, right? And that's the state of most of us today. There's this small psycho-relational test we have. It's fun. There's nothing you have to do. It's just imagining things. So if you want to close your eyes, you can do that. I'll tell you what to imagine, and then I'll later tell you what those imaginations mean. And don't worry, you don't have to tell us what you dreamt or what you felt, right? It's totally up to you. Okay, so imagine you're in a vast desert, right? And there's nothing. Just vast desert, right? Now imagine a cube in the sea. A cube. It can be of any size, any shape, not shape, any color, any texture, any material. It's your cube. You can make anything of it. Imagine a cube in this vast desert. It can be lying on the ground, it can be flying in the air, it can be up against the clouds, it can be in your hand, it can be behind your back. It's your imagination. Don't think logically. Just imagine a cube in this vast desert, which is all around you. Imagine a cube. Okay. Now, imagine a ladder. See, again, the color, the dimensions, the material, the length, the lightness, the heaviness, is all yours. Just make sure you imagine it as much detail as possible. This is your ladder. It can be anywhere in the scene. There is no things like, gravity will not allow this. It can be anywhere in the scene. So imagine a ladder in this scene, right? So we have a cube and we have a ladder. Now, let's bring in something more lively. Now imagine a horse. Now imagine a horse in this scene. A horse, it could be running, it could be jumping, it could be standing, it could be angry, it could be happy, whatever it is. And please stick to your first instinctive response. Don't try to think, nahi, acha nahi lag raha, isko acha bana dete hain. Stick to your instinctive response. Nobody is going to ask you what you imagine. So be honest with yourselves. Otherwise, there's no fun doing it. So you have a horse in the picture. As many details as possible. The more details you have, the more helpful it will be for you. Now, after the horse, imagine a storm. Tufan. Imagine a storm in this picture. It could be anywhere. It could be any kind of storm. It could be of any intensity, of any kind, whatever it is. Imagine a storm. So now you've got a cube, a ladder, a horse, and a storm. Is everybody done? If everybody's done, you can open your eyes. Right, now I'm going to tell you what these things mean, and I'm not going to ask anybody what you imagine, so you're free to decipher it yourself. The first one, the cube, represents yourself, your ego. Okay? The bigger the cube, the bigger the ego. If it's a transparent cube, you're a person who likes to be transparent, you don't like to hide things. It's an opaque cube, you can't see through it, you don't know what's inside, you don't like to tell people a lot of things. Is it on the ground? You're a down-to-earth person, literally. If it's somewhere in the clouds, you're a dreamy person. If it's in your hand, very tiny, you have a small ego. If it's, what else? Some people imagine an ice cube, right? So that means that your ego is dissolving, it's melting. reducing, right? So the texture, is it hard? Is it soft? Is it shining? What is it? It tells you a lot about yourself, your ego, right? Now let's move on to the ladder. The ladder represents your friends, your closest friends. Is the ladder leaning on the cube? That means your friends depend on you. You think of you as a dependent person and they depend on you. Is the ladder flying far away? You're becoming very distant, right? This is all current state. Huh? This is not like how you program. This is all your current state. Maybe after 10 days or maybe after a month, when you imagine all this, there will be a change. And believe me, there is a change. I keep doing this exercise and I keep finding changes in the things corresponding to my state of mind. So the ladder represents a friend. The number of rungs which are there in the ladder represents the number of close friends you have. People you call, your trustworthy friends, people you depend on. Right? The color, there's a bit of color therapy involved in this, color psychology. So, for example, it was a yellow ladder. So your friends are bright, cheerful people, and all that. So you have to go online and check that because I don't want to ask you what you saw, right? So the color, the texture, कितना भारी था, क्या कर रहा था, सड़क पे पड़ा हुआ था, खड़ा था. What was the ladder doing in the scene? It's up to you how you can imagine. Then you have the horse. Now the horse represents your partner, your companion for life. Maybe not for life in our case. We're seeing the number of divorce cases, but your partner. If you don't have a partner right now, the ideal partner that you would like to have, right? Is the horse free? Is it reined in? रस्सी से बांधा हुआ है? या भाग रहा है वो खुला आराम से? It depends on how you treat your partner in your relationship. If you let your partner be free, run around and be what they want to be, then a horse will be without any ropes, running around, happy, and whatever. जितना distance है आपसे, आपका partner आपसे उतना ही दूर है, इतना close है. कुछ लोग घोड़े के ऊपर बैठ जाते हैं. So you're somebody who likes to really control their partners. You're controlling people possessive. So that horse is your partner. You can use your imagination to understand what things that you saw about the horse tell you about your partner and the way you deal with the partner in your relationship. And lastly, the storm. The storm represents obstacles or problems in your life. The farther it is, the more, आपको लगता नहीं कोई problem है, हाँ कुछ है, not a major thing. The more ferocious it is, the more overwhelmed you are. You think your problems are a big deal right now. कुछ लोगों का पीछे जाता है, तूफान तो पीछे है. It means you've just come out of a time when you've overcome a problem, right? So it just represents your problems, the size, and the ferocity of it. And on that note, I'm going to end with this last cartoon. I love cartoons. I want to solve all your problems. How? By telling you how to solve all your problems, and that's what I have done today. Thank you so much. I hope you had a good time, and I hope I gave you some food for thought for the rest of the day. Thank you so much. Questions, please, if you're all there. Yes, sir.
Dr. Bernays, the book, The Parent, Adult and Child.
Yes.
It has a very useful day-to-day transactions.
Yes.
But what are the relevance to that? This you said role model that you said victim.
Right. Your roles, yes. Right.
Because that has a utility in day-to-day life. Dr. Bernays' book. But I could not. I failed to.
Okay. So what happens is, although we are not fixed with the roles, we keep adopting different roles. Most people tend to have this favorite role. Okay. So for example, I'm not generalizing here, but for example, mothers tend to be the rescuers. They will go and help everybody out. I will be the do-gooder. I will sacrifice my own happiness and do what is needed for your happiness. And psychologists actually claim that the reason, so if anybody remembers, I talked about the 3 phases of victimhood, that all 3 are actually victims in a certain sense, apart from the obvious victim. Why is the rescuer a victim? Why does the rescuer do what they actually do? The reason is, and the psychologists say this is not my own theory, they say that the rescuer busies or diverts attention or distracts themselves from with other people's problems so that they don't have to face their own problems. So keep yourself engaged, keep yourself busy with other people's problems, feel good, feel important, feel needed, and I don't need to worry about looking within myself that what is it that I need to deal with within myself. Talking about the persecutor, probably the most scared role. ये लोग सबसे ज़्यादा डरे हुए होते हैं, and उस डर को वो aggression की तरह बाहर निकालते हैं. They're the most scared people. They think they lack something, and to cover up for that, they try to find lack in everybody around them, right? So coming to your question, sir, I think all of these things, if you look at it, is just And that's the terrifying truth we don't want to face. That जो कुछ भी हो रहा है, जो कुछ भी मेरे साथ हो रहा है, मेरे आसपास हो रहा है, मेरे अंदर हो रहा है, वो सब मैं ही मैं हूँ. And this is something that we don't like to face because it puts us in a non-survival mode. The brain immediately goes crazy because you are not questioning the very your existence is being questioned. The brain is wired for survival of the fittest. Its role is to make you fitter, and the fittest, to rule them all. But it is not designed to make you feel aware. If you start feeling aware, the brain gets left behind and the brain does not like it. That's what we talk about the ego. What do we call the ego? The ego is nothing but a false self. You think you are the ego makes you feel